Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. So I welcome you all to this particular webinar. Very exciting day we've had today in the markets, and I'm sure today's session is going to help you a lot. So today's session, if I have to brief you, we are going to discuss a method to analyze overbought and oversold conditions. See, mind you, this is not something orthodox relative strength index method of 30/70 that we are going to see today. Something very new, fresh perspective we'll be getting from Mr. Karan Bhojwani, who is a technical analyst at the Wall Street Investment Journal, has multiple years of experience in reading charts, decoding market trends, etc. So, how this session will go ahead is we'll listen to the experts' views, perspective, and he will explain how to use this particular indicator, and he'll also share outlook on the markets once he explains the indicator in detail, after which we'll have our question and answer round. Okay, so whatever queries you may have, you may please type it in the chat session once the speaker finishes with his session. Okay, so I'll hand over the session to Mr. Karan.
Thank you, Yogesh, for the introduction. First of all, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first webinar of calendar year 2023 conducted by DSIJ. And I'm a technical expert at DSIJ. Hope year 2023 has been joyful for you and everyone. And you are on the right path to achieve your resolutions, which you have planned in the initial part of the year. Likewise, DSIJ has also made a resolution. Our resolution is to share all the insights, know-how about the stock market, and also to keep you updated with all the key macroeconomic events which could dictate the market movements. To fulfill this endeavor, we have started this webinar series, and I hope these webinars in the coming days plus this one will help you not only to safeguard against the market volatility, but also helps you to generate alpha on your investment. So before beginning the webinar, my colleagues Yogesh informed you that this webinar has been divided into three parts. In the first initial part, we will see the insights which will help us to identify turning points of the market. In the second part, I will give a brief idea about market direction, market kya lagta hai, by using technical analysis, tools and techniques of technical analysis. And lastly, we will take up the Q&A session where your questions will be answered by me using technical analysis parameter. You can post your questions on the chat box. So let us begin with the webinar. So I will be sharing the slide with you right now. Hope the slide is visible to everyone. Yogesh, is it visible?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
लेकिन
So
स्लाइड शो करो, कर सकते हो स्लाइड शो.
I have done the slideshow.
Okay.
Okay. So as a market participant, we have two major questions or very general question to answer always. If the markets are trending higher, we ask everyone and ourselves also कि market और कितना ऊपर जाएगा, which is how much higher will it go from here on. And if the markets are falling, like currently the markets are falling, we are seeing back-to-back steep fall in the markets from the last two trading session. We ask कि यार market और कितना नीचे जाएगा, how much lower it will go. So basically, these are the two important questions which every investor or market participant wants to answer. And when we end this presentation, I'm sure you will be on the verge of answering this question to yourself and plus your colleagues or maybe your friends and relatives as well. Because this is a simple indicator tool which a 5 standard can also student also can learn, and we have decoded it easily. So now the question is whether it is possible to forecast the formation of peaks that is high and troughs which is low. And the answer is very simple, yes. It is possible to forecast the formation of peaks and troughs using the indicator named the disparity index. The indicator which we are talking today is known as disparity index. So this indicator basically helps us to squeeze the best out of a trend in the frontline indices. So basically this indicator works well in the indices and stocks which are seeing good volume or good bid and ask spread. So means that there is good enough liquidity in the stock. But what is this indicator all about? Before going deep into this indicator, I will present a couple of real life example which may help you to understand this indicator in a better manner. So I will move on to the real life example. So basically the picture in front of you is of an elevator. Elevator also known as lift. So the main function of elevator is carrying passenger or freight between the different levels of multi-story building. Like if you want to go to the seventh floor of a multi-story building, you will board the lift and you will press seventh floor, and it will help you to reach the seventh floor with ease, right? So now coming to the second point over here, there are buttons in the lift, different buttons in the lift, ranging from ground floor to the 10th floor. And let's say if the building is of 10th floors, the highest number you can go via lift is the 10th floor. While on the downside, if the lowest level of the building is ground floor or maybe a basement level, so you will go to the basement level or a ground floor depending upon the lowest level available in the building or a multi-story building. So basically, this tells us that there is a range. On the higher side, the lift can go up to the level of 10th floor, and on the downside, the lift can go up to the level of ground floor or a basement if there is any placement available. So this gives us a clear indication that the lift will move up to 10th floor on the higher side, and on the lower side, it will go to the ground floor or a basement level. So basically, as we mentioned earlier, over here is an example of elevator. This is a picture of elevator, which is also known as lift. The function of lift is to carry passengers of freight between the levels of multi-story building. Let's say if you want to go to a seventh floor of a 10-story building, you will press the seventh floor button and you will reach up to the seventh level of that particular building. So now coming back to this slide, there is one important equipment in the this lift or elevator which is known as the button. So the button tell us how high can this lift go or how lower it can go. Basically, if the building is up to 10th floor, the elevator or the lift can go up maximum up to the level of 10. So basically 10 will be the highest level where the lift will go, and ground floor or basement level, which is the lower floor, it can go lower up to this level. So this tells us an idea, this button gives us a range key lift will go up to the 10 level, which is the highest floor level, and ground floor level or a basement level on the downside. So we are clear, pretty much clear कि lift ऊपर जाएगी तो 10th floor तक जाएगी, अगर नीचे जाएगी तो it will go up to the ground floor level or basement level. So similarly, we need to understand market with this perspective कि how high it can go, and when it reaches the highest level, we should be clear that this is the point where the market is overstretched and it will revert back to a certain level. And similarly, when market when stretches on the downside or falls on the downside, we want to know from which level it will rise up back again. So as the role of the building is that if you press from ground floor to 7th floor, it will help you to reach on the upside. So this indicators will help us to do the same thing. So now moving on to the second slide. Before moving on to the second slide, I will like to give you one more example, which is of a rubber band. So this is a rubber band in my hand. If you see, if we stretch the rubber band, it stretches up to a maximum level. Beyond that level, it does not stretches. It will either break the rubber band, or again, if we remove the stretch and back again, the rubber band is at the normal level. So this tells us that there is a certain level on the upside, maximum level, and on the downside, it is a level where the maximum level on the downside will be reached. So this rubber band gives us a clear example. These are the extreme points on the downside. This is the extreme point, and this is on the upside. It is an extreme point. So I hope this example makes clear that we are trying to find out the extreme levels on the upside and the downside. So now moving on to the slide. Similarly, like elevator, disparity index basically help us to identify the high and the low point of the market. So this indicator help us to identify high and the low point of the market. But right now, many market participants are using very traditional indicator like RSI for an example, relative strength indicator, which is developed by J. Wells Wider to identify overbought and oversold levels. However, there is a flaw in this indicator. The flaw is that 70 is considered to be a overbought level, while on the other hand, below level of 30 it is considered to be oversold. So the indicator tells us that whenever the stock or an index or an security which we are analyzing is moving above the 70 level, it is considered to be overbought. So above 70, it can be 75, it can be 85, it can be 82, whatever level it can be. But there is no significant contribution to this study where it is tells us that this is the precise point where the level can be called overbought. It has given a range that above 70 up to level of 100, it can be called as overbought. So this is the main flaw. Similarly, on the downside, below 30, it says it's oversold. So whenever the index goes below 30, it is called as oversold. So 30 can be 25, it can go up to 20, it can go up to 12, it can go up to down to the level of 10. So below 30, all levels are oversold. So again, on the downside, it does not give us a clear idea or a precise idea whether this level is a bottom or oversold perfect level or not. So basically, RSI does not help us in identifying the precise points of peaks and troughs. But disparity index help us to give a high probability region to forecast peaks and troughs. So moving on to the example of RSI, how this indicator is flawed. This is the chart I am presenting. The chart is visible.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay. So this is the daily chart of Nifty index, and in the lower pane we have plotted RSI, 14 period RSI on the daily chart with 70 level marked as a overbought region, and we can see the index has moved up substantially despite being in a overbought region. There is no point of or any sign of point where the index is showing that I am going lower because I am headed to the overbought region or I have reached to the overbought region. So again over here we can see the index has reached overbought level, but it has continued to risen by a substantial amount. Let's say the index was a year over 12,800, it has moved up to 13,800 level. But again, we have still not found any turning point over here. So again, the point is simple. The conclusion is simple. This index does not give us a clear idea. Basically, RSI momentum indicator does not give us a clear idea whether the index is overbought or it is heading toward a overstretched level or it is heading toward a turning point. So now what? So we have the solution with us, which is disparity index. So here are the insights of disparity index. So this basically method has used by Japanese traders. Japanese traders are very well known. They have invented the candlestick patterns. Plus, this disparity index has been formed and devised by them only. So this disparity index again help us to identify high or low price. So this index is a simply statistical measure of price deviation from a mean. So what does price deviation from a mean means? Let's say a mean is 20-day moving average. How far the price have moved away from its 20-day moving average. So mean over here is a 20-day moving average, and price, how far the price has deviated from its 20-day moving average. So this tells us in a statistical number that how far the price have moved from its mean. So as I mentioned, there are two important elements in disparity index. One is price and second is moving average. It is important to remember these two elements form the disparity index. One is price and second is moving average. So like I mentioned you, when the price moves too far away from a moving average, the disparity index tells us that this region is over, this stock or this index is has reached an overstretched or overbought territory with a precise point. While on the downside, if the price has moved lower from the moving average, it tells us it has reached an oversold region, or the price is overstretched and you can start accumulating from here on. So now we will move on to the slide where we will see the calculation of disparity index, how it is calculated. The formula is pretty much simple and clear. So for an example, let's say Nifty is trading at 18,000 mark and the 20-day moving average, which is the 20 days closing price of an index, is around 17,100 level at present. So the price is 18,000 mark and the mean, which is 20-day moving average. Over here I have taken 20-day moving average as a mean. 20 days is a short-term moving average, so it helps us to gauge good insights about the short-term traders, what they are perceiving about the market. So basically, I am taking 20-day moving average, and in all my studies, I take 20-day moving average. It helps me to better gauge the understanding about the short-term traders, what they are thinking and what they are planning to do now. So the calculation over here is moving average level, current market price minus moving average level divided by moving average level into 100. So basically the current market price is 18,000, which is the Nifty level. Moving average level is 17,100. So what we will do, we will do the subtraction, 18,000 minus 17,100 divided by 17,100 into 100. So this gives us a value of 5%. This tells us 5% is the overstretched level or over bottom oversold region, from where there is a high probability Nifty can move higher. So we will move on to the chart of Nifty, which has been plotted along with the disparity index on the lower pane, and we will see how this 5% statistical number has acted as a good turning point or overstretch point for the index. So this is the daily chart of Nifty again. Over here we can see so over here we can see that this is the disparity index. Zero is the neutral line. Above zero, basically it indicates greens, and below zero it indicates red. And I have drawn a horizontal line over the 5% mark on the upper side as well as on the downside. So basically these are the boundaries within where the index trades. So whenever the index has touched the upper band, which is 5% on the higher side, that means the index has moved 5% above its 20-day moving average. It has touched a peak. Over here we can see the index has touched a peak, and thereafter we have seen a correction. This is the point of correction. Over here we have seen the complete correction. So again, after a period of certain period continuously, we saw over here again the index has near about touched this 5% mark. So what the market has done, the market has again started to correct. This is where the market has started to correct, and this is where the point where the index is near about touching the 5% mark on the higher side. And talking about the downside region also, over here near about 5% level, index has touched the lower level and it has bounced back sharply from here. Again on the higher side, we saw that index has moved far away, 5% from its 20-day moving average, and this has been reflected in this disparity index. Again, the disparity index is touching near about the 5% mark, and again it has started to correct. On the downside, again the index, disparity index, touched the 5% mark, it bounced back sharply over here again. So this is the correlation which I am trying to explain, that this 5% band works like a magical band on the disparity index when you are trying to gauge the index highs and lows. So basically over here also we can see index disparity index has nearly touched about 5% mark, and we have seen a correction. A correction has started to begin, and again on the downside over here we saw that index has touched 5% level on the disparity index, and it has bounced back sharply from here. So this gives us a very good idea how the index will behave when it has reached on the upper side of the band, which is 5%, and downside on the band, which is minus 5%. So basically, we are seeing during this period only the markets are trending down or upwards. And when there is an important nugget to share with you, since I am following this indicator for a long period of time, whenever the bands are touching to the extremes back and forth, it means the markets are trending. That can be, these markets can be traded easily and money can be made, because volatility helps the trader to earn money, good amount of money. Now coming back to the current scenario, what we saw in the last couple of weeks, the market was range bound. So if you can see over here, this is the current situation. Let's say today's calculation has not been plotted on the chart. So during this period, what we saw, the index was disparity index was almost neutral. It was not heading towards high, neither it was heading lower. What it suggested, basically index is just hovering around the 20-day moving average, which is mean level. So the 20-day mean acted as a support on the downside, plus on the upside it acted as a resistance, because the index was just hovering near about 20-day moving average. So this period tells us clearly it is not a good time to trade. We need to be on the sidelines, because there is no momentum enough on the upside as well as on the downside. So the momentum cannot be captured and trades cannot be taken clearly. So this was the index disparity index. So basically we saw that how this indicator has helped us to identify the turning points. As I mentioned earlier, this works better on the indices and
I
stocks
was
which are heavyweight and have a good liquidity. Basically what I hear from many people, that technical analysis does not work. The thing is that technical analysis does work, and if we combine it with the behavioral response means human being response, how human being reacts to the certain points. So if we combine both technical analysis and behavioral response, it does wonders to your charting thing. So here is a simple line which I follow: significance of technical analysis amplifies when it combines with behavioral response. So this was the presentation from my side, and now here is a very good surprise for you. We are running an offer on our Traders Pack product. One product name is Technical Advisory Service, where we give recommendation for short-term basis, and second is Pop Option, which is again a trader product, and this product focus completely on stock recommendation, stock option recommendations, and we only give buy option recommendation, that is either buy call or buy put option. And we are running a good offer. So there is a offer of this product where we are giving 35% flat off on both of these product, and this is only for the participants who have participated in this webinar with us right now. So now we will we are moving now to the this thing market view. I will share my software with you.
Karan. Before we move on,
Yeah.
uh, can you quickly help couple of investors? The questions are relevant in the sense, can you show live how to plot this particular indicator, and which moving average, in which format are you talking about?
So basically, this tool, like have developed it in my software using the statistical measure, but this tool has right now available in TradingView easily. One can access to TradingView and click on the indicator button over there. In indicator, you can type disparity index. You will get the first option and you can plot it. And the moving average which I am talking about is 20-day moving average. Simple 20-day moving average.
Okay, so great. So Mr. Saeed, it is a simple 20-day moving average. Mr. Gunshamji, for you, the indicator is readily available on TradingView, and I think Mr. Veera, your question is answered, by Mr. Karan. So, Karan, please continue with your
Okay, sure,
presentation.
sure. So the chart is visible now, Yogesh, on the screen?
Not yet. No.
Not yet? Okay, okay. Give me some time. Share. Now?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So this is daily chart of the Nifty. Yeah, we will analyze the market using the Nifty. So basically, you can see this is the white line, which is a trend line, rising trend line. What we have seen, we have plotted. What we have done, we have plotted a rising trend line, upward rising trend line, by connecting the lows of June plus September, and we have got it this trend line. We saw this trend line was being breached with a gap down opening on 22nd of December. Thereafter, price attempted to move higher, but it resisted at the right at the point of trend line. Over here, you can see it has resisted and again moved lower. But during this period, what we saw, the price has formed a double bottom kind of pattern. Why we what is a double bottom pattern in a layman language? When the price makes equal lows or near about equal lows, then that pattern is called as a double bottom pattern, but there should be a gap of minimum of 5 bars between this formation. Okay, so here we can see the level of 17,770 was the low. Similarly, here we can see the level of 17,760 was the low, and then again we made an attempt to move higher. But what happened, we again registered near about the level which is called as the neckline of the double bottom pattern. Neckline is the valley pattern, basically valley area where the valley has been formed of double bottom. So the price resisted near about the valley. The index consolidated between 500 points, that is 17,770 mark to 18,265 mark for almost 1 month. And after a 1 month, we are seeing a significant breakdown in this chart on the Nifty. So the initial target which comes to the mind by measuring this pattern is near about the 500 points from the breakdown of this pattern. Let's say the breakdown level was 17,770. If you minus 500 points from there, you will get 17,270 level. So now interesting point is that over here 17,270 level coincides with 200-day moving average, which is an important long-term moving average which a long-term investors follows. So basically what we get, the target of 17,270 on the downside, and it is a confluence of measured move of this breakdown and plus the 200-day moving average. So this should be a very good support in the near to medium term, 17,270 level based on this price pattern and the support of 200-day moving average. And now coming to the weekly chart, what we are seeing. So basically, this is the weekly chart of Nifty. We are seeing Nifty took support on 20 weekly moving average multiple times. Oh, this is the 20 moving weekly moving average plotted in green, and we saw a couple of indecisive candle, doji candle, where the price opened and low at the open and close at a similar level. Here also the price opened and closed at similar level. Thereafter we saw a very bearish candle over here in the current week. This, and plus we saw a breakdown from this range. So this clearly tells us that we are heading, as per the technical studies, we are heading lower towards 17,270 level, but that would be a point of good accumulation. Slowly and slowly we can build over there good position, we can accumulate good stocks over there around 17,270 levels. So basically this was the market view on the Nifty currently, and this view negates when we move about 18,085 level on the upside. So as long as we are below 18,085 level, we are looking at the target of 17,270 on the downside. So thank you. This was the market view from my side.
Okay. Okay, that's great, Karan. Some wonderful points that you have discussed, and it was great to know about the indicator that you shared with us. Now, I would request you all to please place your questions in the Q&A only section. I'll read out the question to the expert, and I'm sure Karan will help us with the answers. Okay. So, Karan, I got couple of questions.
Yeah, sure.
Just to repeat and understand it, and if you can go a little deeper and slow on this indicator. First question: what is the name of the indicator? That 5% that you
So the
just
name of indicator is disparity index. DIS.
disparity index. Okay.
Disparity
So
index.
I'm just typing in disparity index.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is one. So तो दीपक जी आपको आपका जवाब मिल गया. इंडेक्स का नाम है डिस्पैरिटी इंडेक्स. तो 5% आपको उस पे. So how do I place it in the teams, this thing trading view? You said it is readily available, right?
Yeah, it is readily available in the indicator segment. If you type search in the search box, you type disparity index, you will get the disparity index.
Okay.
बट हमको क्या करना है, वो बैंड्स जो है ना मैन्युअली प्लॉट करनी है.
मैन्युअली प्लॉट करनी है.
प्लॉट करनी
तो
है.
ये क्वेश्चन है दुर्गा, जो हमारे अटेंडी है. प्लीज let us know how we can plot 5 and -5 level of indicators.
सो बेसिकली जब आप ट्रेडिंग व्यू पे जाएंगे, आप डिस्पैरिटी इंडेक्स सर्च करेंगे, आपको एक डिस्पैरिटी इंडेक्स मिल जाएगा, लोअर पेन में आ जाएगा, बेसिकली चार्ट के नीचे सारी वैल्यूज दी जाएंगी डिस्पैरिटी इंडेक्स में, रेंजिंग अपॉन -10% टू +10%. आपको क्लियरली दिखाई देगा डिस्पैरिटी इंडेक्स नीचे.
Okay.
आपको बेसिकली क्या करना है, 5% पे एक लाइन, हॉरिजॉन्टल लाइन टूल सेलेक्ट करके, एक हॉरिजॉन्टल लाइन सेलेक्ट करके वहाँ 5% पे रख देनी है. 5% क्या, ये 5% लेवल क्यों आया? बिकॉज आई हैव बीन examining this tool for last 7 to 8 years, and the 5% level has worked wonderfully.
Okay.
It may be different. Let's say it is different for Bank Nifty. The Bank Nifty level is around 6.5%. So we have given the direct secret shots to our participant कि 5% has worked magically on this thing, disparity index, especially on Nifty.
So wonderful. Thank you so much, Karan, for the answer. So Bank Nifty के लिए 6.5% and Nifty के लिए 5%. I'm sure you all should try it out, back test it if possible, and you can always come back to us through email interaction in case you have any doubt. Karan, I have a question from Mrityunjay.
Yeah.
For short-term trades, 6 months to 1 year, can we still go for 20 days moving average?
Yeah, definitely. We can go for this 20-day moving averages. Basically, what I showed on the chart, it clearly reflected. It also helps us to gauge when the markets are trending and when the markets are trading sideways. Like I mentioned, when the price is hitting upper band and lower band continuously, at that moment, the prices are expanding, right? That's why it is being reached on the upside and downside. So it is a very good point for trading at that point of time. But when the price, this disparity index has been stuck near about the 20, this thing zero level mark, which suggests that the price is trading near the 20 DMA. So it does not make sense to trade either on the long side and on the downside, like we have seen recently. So 20-day moving average works well for the longer period of term as well.
ओके. तो इसी सवाल से जुड़ा अगला सवाल है, कैन वी यूज डिस्पैरिटी इंडेक्स इंडिकेटर इन लोअर टाइम फ्रेम? आई थिंक यू हैव ऑलरेडी आंसर्ड इट, बट
Again, I would say lower time frame pe it will be a quite a chaos situation over there, because it will not give you a perfect level over there. In daily chart, the noise reduces, so it does help us to get a clarity. If you use it on 15 minutes chart, let's say ki on the opening bell itself, the index has seen a, let's say, gap down of 200 points, then the disparity index will completely go haywire. It will move beyond the band. So basically, it does not help you to get a clear idea. But on daily chart, yes, it does help you to get a clear idea, because the any indicator works well when it is plotted on a higher time frame. So
Okay.
again, this rule applies to this indicator as well.
Okay. Okay, that's great. So if used it on daily charts and for longer time frame, it is more useful. And okay, a nice question from Mr. Siddhant. What to do if it crosses above or below 5%?
So basically, in the 2020 fall, pandemic fall, we saw this level of 5% breaching on the downside because the fall was quite sharp. So when the events are like this black swan events, at that case, there is a probability it will breach on the downside. And when it does breach on the downside, it amplifies the downfall because here the range of 5% has been breached. Now traders itself are confused. Ki where is the mean level on the downside or where is the value buying level on the downside? So they will wait for a certain time period after it crosses 5% on the downside to gauge where the markets are heading, and then only they will decide. So basically the probability of this indicator is around about 70 to 80% during black swan events like the 2020 pandemic fall or any good events where we have seen market overshoot or we have seen euphoria in the market. This indicator tends to give a false signals as well. It crosses on the higher side and we might be trapped for some time over there. But over here, what we can do, we can see if the turning point of disparity line. If the disparity line is touching and then turning, then we can take a short trade over there or we can book our profits. Similarly, on the downside, when it is hitting the lower ceiling and it is moving upwards, the curve is moving upward, we can initiate a long buy over there. So this was the answer from my side.
Okay, that's great. Thank you, Karan, for that answer. Now, I think Mr. Vijay Karthik, for your question, is 5% also applicable for Bank Nifty? Karan has already replied with 6.5%. So your question is answered. Now, one question from Mr. Saeed. Three disparity indexes are there. Which to use?
What I will do, I will do it live. I will plot a disparity index on TradingView live, so it will help everyone to understand it. Okay.
Yes, that is a request, Karan, from a lot of our
Yeah. I
attendees.
saw
So
that
that
on
would
the
be
chat.
great.
That's why I will be doing that. Okay.
Sure.
So I will
You're doing it right now?
right now, right away.
Okay, that's great.
So this
And
is
also,
basic.
can you apply this indicator in commodities?
Yes, commodities can be applied. These indicators can be applied to commodities and currency also. But again, over there, you need to identify which, like in index, Nifty index, we have identified 5% is working as a magical level. Over there, we can identify certain level depending upon the securities we are trading, whether copper or maybe whatever security we are trading, underlying we are trading. We can see where the peaks have been formed in the past. So basically, if the peaks have been formed in the past, let's say around 6 to 7 level, then that would be your horizontal point over there. So that historically suggests that 7% on the upside and 7% on the lower side has acted as a reversal point or the peak or throat point.
Okay, that's great.
So
So,
this
Mr.
this is
Vin,
a
your question is been answered. While Karan helps us with the live plotting of the indicator.
so basically this is the daily chart of Nifty. What I will do, I will go into the indicator segment and I will search for disparity index. So the first one which pops up by Everget, this is the index we need to plot. When we plot, we will get this line. You can see that what simply you have to do, you have to plot this at a 5% range over here. You can select a horizontal trend line from here, and at 5% you can plot this over here, and on the downside 5% you can plot it over here. So this is how the index can be plotted easily. Basically, you need to go into the indicator segment. Disparity you have to look at. Everget has produced this, has written this coding. disparity index, you need to select it. Automatically, it will be plotted on your chart. I hope this is clear.
Okay, that's wonderful, Karan. Thank you very much for simplifying it for all of us. Even it's very clear to naked eyes. You can spot some opportunities. Now, one question I think you have already answered it in the previous question, but it is slightly related. The chart that you showed, it is from Mr. Manoj Rao during the period
Okay.
April 20 to February 21. Graph shows beyond plus 5%. Could you please clarify what can be done or what needs to be done in such situation?
I think he has plotted 5% on the upside or downside -5% he's talking about.
Upside during period
Upside.
April 20 to Feb 21.
Okay, so what happens, like I mentioned, ki basically 20 periods, whenever the price moves below 20 period and then it moves 5% beyond the disparity index on the higher or upside, it tries to find the level where it can stabilize. So whenever we have seen a sharp fall, we saw a 35% correction in the time span of 30-40 days, right? So this is a very sharp fall and a very rare event to occur. So whenever such falls have been seen in the past, what disparity index does? It takes the moving this thing index above 5%. So it is usual. The first pullback will be above 5%. Whenever there is a sharp fall and when recovery is seen, a sustainable recovery, a bottom formation will be happening when we cross 5% on the upside. So during sharp falls and recovery phase, it does tend to move above 5%. So this is the sign that we are strengthening now, and buy on dip should strategy should be adopted, especially when we hit the lower level -5%.
That's wonderful. So, Karan, thank you again for explaining it very nicely. Now, there is a question from Mr. Sanjeev. What's the disparity index level for some of the key Nifty 50 stocks like Reliance, HDFC Bank, Infosys, TCS, Bharti, etc.?
See, basically, if you apply a disparity index on Bharti, it will not work pretty well. Yes, on Reliance, it works pretty well. HDFC, it works pretty well. But if you plot the disparity index in the current scenario, you can see there is no clearly trading opportunities available in both these stocks. Yes, in HDFC Bank, last week we saw a good bounce from the lower level of disparity index. It was near about 7.5%. So from that level, it bounced back. But since the price range of Reliance and HDFC, we are seeing that both the stocks are moving in a consolidation range before this fall. So hence there was no clear-cut indication whether the stock is up heading towards the higher side of disparity index or lower side. But in past, on Reliance, 8 to 9% has worked pretty well. Similarly, on HDFC, 7.5, 8% has worked pretty well.
Okay. So there you are, Mr. Sanjeev, 8 to 9% for Reliance and 6 to 7.5% for HDFC Bank. Okay. So wonderful. Now we have already answered Mr. Win's question that yes, you can apply it on commodities. Okay. Okay, I'll just skip this question. We've already answered that. Mr. Saeed wants to convey his thanks to Karan.
Thank you.
Okay, just a moment. Karan, can you help analyze Karnataka Bank share technically?
Yeah, sure.
Two, three queries. Karnataka Bank.
Yeah, I will take up it. So on the daily chart, when I'm seeing the Karnataka Bank chart, it is heading towards its important support of 130 level. I think it might test the level of 130 in the near term because the sentiments of market are such. And as I mentioned earlier, that we might see the level of 17,270 on the downside for the Nifty. So along with the Nifty, this stock might correct. But I think the correction should be restrictive up to 130 level. So around 130, 128 level, it it is a very good support. If it is holding this level, I think again in the short to medium term we might see a bounce back up to 145 level. Again, this is not a recommendation from our side. This is just a view based on the chart.
Okay, so that's wonderful. Mr. Bhavani Prasad, you got your answer. Now, interesting question from Mr. Srivastava. Is there a possibility that the disparity index runs contrary to the RSI index? For example, the disparity index is above 5%, but RSI is showing, oversold or something like that.
So basically, when you run two indicators alongside, so you will get a lot of false signal. Hence, when you are using one indicator which is very much reliable and the probability is high, it gives us a clear idea that no other indicator should be used along with it, because there are chances we can get a false signal and we can fall into the trap. The use of disparity index is to help us eliminate all other indicators. It is not to clutter yourself with multiple indicators. So if you respect this study and if you have confidence in this study, I think this study works wonderfully, and there is no reason to run contrary RSI along with this indicator. So this indicator will help you to gauge the sentiment and oversold and overbought region of the markets.
Okay, wonderful. Karan, yeah, I got this interesting question in my mind while you were explaining. So we got this question from couple of our attendees. So how to identify the levels for individual stocks using this indicator?
So basically, I told it Yogesh earlier also. What you can do, you can plot a chart, daily chart. Basically, you need to go to the daily chart, and you need to plot a disparity index. Let's say you are taking Reliance into the consideration, and you are plotting disparity index with a 20-day moving average. What you can do, you study the historical behavior of the stock with along with the disparity index. Let's say Reliance after moving 9% takes a correction or reverses. So around 9% it has done multiple times. So this 9% would act as a disparity index higher level. And similarly on the downside, 9% will act as a oversold region or a turning point on the downside. So basically what it tells, whenever there are multiple peaks or lows formed on the disparity index, that level will be a watch out level, because this indicator not only help us to study the sentiment. This indicator is only formed after the market participation reacted had done a reactive action around that levels. So whenever the market is falling from that 9%, it suggests that market participants are not comfortable taking long positions over there. So we might see a meaningful correction or meaningful consolidation from there on. So basically, you need to see the peaks. When there are multiple peaks around 9%, so that means that is your disparity index band. 9% on the upside, 9% on the downside. Let us say we take a SBI chart along with the disparity index, and SBI has tendency to move only higher by 4.5% on the upside plus on the downside, and it has done that in the past multiple times. So this 4.5% will become your benchmark on SBI. So where the multiple points are formed, multiple peaks and troughs, that will be your again level or a boundary of disparity index high level and down level.
Okay, so wonderful again. Thank you very much, Karan, for your detailed answer. We have a question from Mr. Pradeep KR. DI, I assume DI is directional index,
Correct. It is a
is
directional
is
index.
only for option trading. Can it be used for stocks as well?
Yes, DI index. In fact, if he is asking directional index, then yes, directional index can be used for stocks as well.
And for commodities, Mr. Mayank is asking, can DI be used for commodities?
Again, he's referring to directional index, if I'm not wrong. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So yes, all commodities also you can use it. Not an issue with that.
Okay. So I got this question from Mr. Jatinder Kashyap. Can Asian Paints be bought at this level?
Let me check the charts. Asian Paints. So if anyone wants to accumulate Asian Paints, I think 2500 to 2600 region is a very good region to accumulate, because in the previous cycles we have seen price has been turning from this levels around. In the month of March 2022, we saw the price has been turning from 2579 level, and again in the during the downfall of June 2022, we saw that historically the price moved again from here. So as we say, there is a saying in the technical price as a memory. So this level will act as a memory level and a support level for the price, and this is a good level to accumulate the stock. Right now, I would not suggest to accumulate, because still there is a room for certain correction in the stock, and but around 2500, 2600 level, it will be a very good buy.
Wonderful, Karan. Now we all know when to buy Asian Paints. So don't be in hurry. थोड़ा रुक के buy कीजिएगा. नीचे आने के chances भी है. हाँ, तो that's great. Thank you, Karan. Now we have a question. Whether disparity index works on futures or spot chart?
Spot chart.
Spot chart. Okay, that's
Yeah.
very clear. Mr. Rahul Mishra, spot charts पे आप use कीजिए, futures पे नहीं. What would qualify as substantial volume for a stock where this disparity index should work?
I think volume and disparity different thing. Disparity index help you to gauge or understand the overheated level or turning points, whereas volume tells us how the market participants have reacted, whether it has been a panic sell-off or FOMO buying, or the buying with huge volume. Volume basically represents good participation, whether it is on the down. If the volume is above average, let's say, average which I use is 50 period average. Whenever the volume is above 50 period average, minimum of 3 times on the closing basis on the daily chart, then it is considered as a good volume, whether it is on the buying side or on the selling side.
Okay. Thank you, Karan, once again. ये एक क्वेश्चन है भारत रसायन. What is wrong with Bharat Rasayan?
So I will answer this. Bharat Rasayan.
So we have Bharat Rasayan question on stock specific questions. Then we have Coal India.
I'm not getting the code of Bharat Rasayan, but I will answer for Coal India. So basically, Coal India today we saw has taken a good support around 20-day moving average. Earlier, this moving average has acted as a resistance for the stock, and today we have saw that the stock has found a long lower shadow. Lower shadow indicates that price had witnessed buying from the lower levels, and it has closed substantially higher from the day's low. So this 20-day moving average should work as a very good support in the near term. The 20 days moving average is placed currently around 290 level. So unless and until it does not breach 290 level, there is no need to panic, at least for short term, for Coal India. And regarding Bharat Rasayan, yes, I have got this code. So when I'm viewing the weekly chart of Bharat Rasayan, it is around the very crucial level, which is the multiple support level around 19,240 to 19,300 levels. So it is on the verge of breaching that support level. I think this stock should be avoided for near term. At least we see a substantially or meaningful base being formed after this sharp sell-off in the stock. So until and unless we see a good base formation in this stock, I would avoid this stock at current levels.
फुल सो रुकिएगा थोड़ा. भारत रसायन में एक सबका फेवरेट स्टॉक है करण. सबका इन द सेंस मोस्ट ऑफ द इन्वेस्टर्स होल्ड दिस. इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग बजाज फाइनेंस, और काफी चर्चे में भी है, काफी दिनों से अंडर परफॉर्म कर रहा है, शार्प सेल ऑफ भी आया है। तो क्या
Hmm.
एक एट्रैक्टिव लेवल बन के आया है बजाज फाइनेंस में? ये क्वेश्चन है देबाशीष सर से।
Okay, okay. So
कैन इट बी बॉट एट करंट लेवल?
I would again say it cannot be bought at current level because all the studies of technical analysis, all the oscillators plus price action is indicating that the chart of Bajaj Finance is not in a good shape. But yes, if you have to buy this stock, 5400 to 5200 level is a very good level for accumulation of this stock. So until and unless we reach that level or point from where we can see the risk is pretty much low and the reward is higher, I would suggest to be on sidelines and wait for the levels to act.
ओके, वंडरफुल। देवाशीष जी, काफी ऑब्जेक्टिव आंसर आपको मिला है। 5200 5400 के लेवल तक रुकिए। तभी इसमें थोड़ा सा रिस्क रिवॉर्ड जब आपके फेवर में आए तब आपको एंटर करना है। सो दैट्स ग्रेट। एक क्वेश्चन है अभिजीत से, कैन वी यूज डीएमए with
Okay.
20 and 200 EMA along with disparity index?
So I think he's trying to ask कि we can replace 220 DMA with 200 EMA, right? If I'm not wrong.
हाँ
He's
हाँ।
trying to say this. No, you cannot do that because 200 is 10 times greater than 20. So again, the whole structure would change of this study, and I think there would be no meaningful observation on this 200-day until and unless you can take any short term. Let's say you can move to 34. If you are not comfortable with 20, you can move to 34, but 200 is too far. So hence, I would avoid 200, and I would suggest either you can go with 20 or 34.
Mhm. Okay, that's great. So it's 20 DMA, and that clarification
34
is
EMA can be replaced with 20 DMA.
20 DMA. Okay, that's a great clarification. Uh, there are two questions now, which are stocks with ITC, and also one question is open ended. And Mr. Ambuj Mittal wants to know any stock at current level which you think is a good buy for long term.
I think for that he needs to buy our product, and we are running offers on our product.
Mhm.
Especially if he is a short-term investor, he can go for TAS, where we are running an offer of 35% flat off. And in this forum, we cannot give specific buy and sell recommendation because this is for just an education purpose. But if he's serious about his investing or trading, he can go for our products, depending upon his time horizon. And coming back to the ITC chart, ITC has seen a breakout of double bottom pattern. The breakout was around 341 level, and today it has outperformed the market as it has closed up by nearly 1.5%. And currently it is trading up above its all moving average. And moreover, RSI has moved about 60 level on the daily chart after quite a bit of long time. So I think the stock is headed for good times in the near term. And on the upside, we can see in the short term 558 to 560 levels coming. With a stop loss of 341 or 341 can enter in the stock where there is a good support for a 358 to 360 level on the upside.
Okay, that's wonderful, Karan. Thank you so much for your objective answers. Uh, One interesting stock, Adani Enterprises. Please explain Adani Enterprise will get nearby support. मतलब सपोर्ट क्या है इसका? क्या करना चाहिए अगर जिन्होंने लिया है और जो लेना चाहते हैं, दोनों के नजरिए से आपकी क्या राय होगी?
So interestingly, there is an observation that since July 2020, the stock has does not breached its 20 weekly moving average. Means on intra week basis, it has gone below, but it has not sustained below for a certain period of time. So today, talking about current times, the stock is way too below its trading way too below its 20 weekly moving average on the weekly chart. And talking about the daily chart, the stock has come down to the levels back to the July levels where it was trading. As if now, I think the support is not clearly visible. But yes, if we draw a Fibonacci retracement basically help us to identify a good support levels. So I will draw a Fibonacci level retracement plotting from May's low to highs of December. So right now it is trading near about its 61.80 retracement level, which is a golden ratio. So if we go by Fibonacci study, the stock can bounce back from here, but wait for the clarity on the news front. And if the stock consolidates or forms a base around this level, then I think one can accumulate this stock because it is trading near its Fibonacci level of 61.80.
ओके ग्रेट थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट सा क्वेश्चन है बिकॉज इट इज इवेंट बेस्ड न्यूज बेस्ड स्टॉक अदानी एंटरप्राइजेस सो given the circumstances I think we've got enough insights to take a decision on the stock. Karan, एक interesting question है, how much past data we have to analyze for finding peak and low level for disparity index?
I think from since 2013 we have data for analyzing this peak and troughs with help of disparity index.
डेटा 2013 से है, लेकिन क्या 2013 से देखना चाहिए या एक पिछले 2 साल 3 साल से भी
नहीं,
आप?
पिछले 2 साल का वंडरफुल वर्क करेगा अगर आपको देखना है
Okay.
क्योंकि मार्केट क्या एक रेगुलेशंस और एक रेवोल्यूशन में चलता है. मार्केट का बिहेवियर जो है वो रिफ्लेक्टिव होता है और यही डिस्पैरिटी इंडेक्स मार्केट का बिहेवियर रिफ्लेक्ट करता है. सो जो रिफ्लेक्शन अभी आएगा वो जो पिछले 10 सालों पहले आया था वो अभी शायद से नहीं आ पाए क्योंकि
Okay.
एल्गोस हैज बीन डेवलप्ड इन सच सिनेरियोस और थोड़ा बिहेवियर भी चेंज होता है. सो करंट रेफरेंस लेना ज़्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है रादर देन लॉन्ग बैकडेटेड रेफरेंस.
ओके, सो बैकडेटेड रेफरेंस आप लंबे समय का ले सकते हैं, लेकिन वेटेज आपको रिसेंट टाइम पीरियड को ज्यादा देना चाहिए. और
पिछले 1.5-2 साल का सफिशिएंट है. यू विल सी मल्टीपल पीक पॉइंट्स एंड थ्रो पॉइंट्स ओवर देयर.
1.5-2 साल का है. तो नवीन भाई, आपको आपका जवाब मिल गया. सो इट इज इंटरेस्टिंग. सो वी हैव रूम फॉर couple of more questions. So these are last two questions I'll take. They are stock specific, Karan.
Yeah,
IRCTC, what is your view, please?
IRCTC. Not a very good view on the IRCTC stock. Basically, we saw a sharp sell-off since mid-December. The stock crashed nearly from 740 levels to 605 levels. Today, again, after consolidation of 3 weeks, today again stock touched around 601 level. So basically, it's a matter of time, and when the stocks go below 600 level, we can see the stock might head to 550 540 levels. So I would say don't buy aggressively this stock at current point of time. Better be watchful, and when the stock comes around 550 to 540 levels, at that point of time you can think of accumulation.
Okay, that's wonderful. Last question for the day, and then we'll call it off. So, what is your view on Bajaj Auto and ITC, which have shown some strength today?
I think
ITC, you
ITC
already.
we have already answered, right?
Yes, Bajaj Auto.
Now I will cover the chart of Bajaj. Bajaj Auto chart looks excellent. Today we saw a very good gap up in the stock, and the volumes have been mammoth. So the stock is again, it will take an attempt to touch a level of 4100 to 4150 levels. And if anyone wants to enter the stock, 3850 is a very good point to enter. This stock again on the daily chart, it has seen breakout of double bottom pattern. The neckline was around 3830 level. So 3850 to 3830 level would be a good accumulation level. And on the upside, we can see 4100 to 4150 levels. So the outlook is positive on this stock for near to short term.
Okay, that's great. So, thank you so much, Karan, for all the information you have shared. And the most important part of today's session, which I find I personally think is appreciated, is you have shared something which is your own observation, which will not get it anywhere else. You also explained nicely how this indicator you have developed on and how you apply it on Nifty, and you've also shared very interesting aspects on, in terms of percentage, like बैंक निफ्टी में 6.5%, रिलायंस में
Correct,
नौ
correct.
परसेंट HDFC बैंक में 6.5%. I think ये कहीं पे नहीं मिलेगा. No textbook will have it. It is purely based on your research,
Observation.
observation, and years of experience. So we all appreciate that. उसके बाद आपने मार्केट ट्रेंड भी बताया, कहाँ पे सपोर्ट हो सकता है, कहाँ पे रेजिस्टेंस हो सकता है. जब तक 17,250 270 नहीं ब्रेक करता मार्केट, मतलब दैट इज अ लेवल, इंपॉर्टेंट लेवल टू वॉच आउट फॉर.
Watch it.
सो दैट इज अनदर यूजफुल इंसाइट यू शेयर्ड. आपने ये भी बताया बजाज फाइनेंस को अभी थोड़ा रुकना है, आईआरसीटीसी में वीकनेस है, आपने बजाज ऑटो आईटीसी में स्ट्रेंथ बताया है, और काफी सारे स्टॉक स्पेसिफिक इनपुट्स आपने दिए. एंड आई एम श्योर ऑल द इन्वेस्टर्स टुडे हु आर अटेंडिंग दिस वेबिनार विल बेनिफिट फ्रॉम द इनपुट्स. सबसे इंटरेस्टिंग तो ऑफ कोर्स इंडिकेटर के इनपुट्स थे. आई होप वी ऑल will apply that and improve our trading experience. So a big thank you from all of us to Karan. Before I sign off, I would want to highlight this offer to you, जो करण ने ऑलरेडी मेंशन किया था. ये ऑफर पे देखिए, आपको 35% जो आज ये वेबिनार अटेंड कर रहे हैं, इनके लिए स्पेशल डिस्काउंट है ऑफ एडिशनल 10%. आई थिंक यू शुड नॉट मिस इट. एज एंड व्हेन मार्केट मूवमेंट्स, जैसे करण ने बताया, डायरेक्शनल मूवमेंट आता है, जो जो भी अपॉर्चुनिटीज दिखते हैं वो हमारे ट्रेडिंग प्रोडक्ट्स में रिफ्लेक्ट होते हैं. तो इसमें आपको अभी क्योंकि आप ये एफर्ट लेके वेबिनार अटेंड कर रहे हैं, आपके लिए ये स्पेशल डिस्काउंट है. सो आई थिंक यू कैन अवेल द बेनिफिट एंड सब्सक्राइब टू द product. Okay, so thank you very much, everyone. Thank you very much for attending this particular webinar. I hope we keep in touch. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
We're logging off.